It was just another typical day in the modern world. The streets were packed with people rushing to and from their destinations, their eyes glued to the glow of their smartphones. The air was thick with exhaust fumes, the sky a dull gray from the haze of pollution. In the office buildings towering above the city, a common scene played out. Sarah sat at her desk, staring at a mountain of emails she'd yet to respond to. Her coffee, long gone cold, sat beside her, ignored, much like the pile of paperwork she had to finish. She'd been working late for weeks now, trying to get ahead, but no matter how hard she worked, there was always something more to do. It felt like she was trapped in a cycle of endless deadlines. Beside her, Jason typed furiously on his laptop, a frown etched on his face as he tried to solve an issue that seemed to have no easy fix. The project he was working on had gone through multiple revisions, and every new version only led to more problems. "I can't take this anymore," he muttered under his breath, rubbing his eyes. He had missed lunch again. And across the hall, Mark sat at his desk, half-heartedly answering phone calls while his mind wandered to the weekend ahead. Was he ever going to get a break? The constant demands of his job, the pressure to perform, he felt like a hamster on a wheel, running faster and faster with no destination in sight. It was the same for everyone. People shuffled through their workdays, tired, stressed, and constantly racing against the clock. Yet no one seemed to have the energy or time to truly enjoy the fruits of their labor. It was a world driven by productivity, the constant hum of technology, and the crushing weight of expectations. The end of the workday finally came, and the office began to empty out, workers dragging their tired bodies through the doors and into the polluted streets. Sarah put on her coat, staring at her phone to check the bus schedule. Another day done, she muttered to herself. Let's do it all again tomorrow. But tonight, something was different. It was a night in the heart of a sprawling, polluted city. Garbage piled high on every corner, the sky smudged with the sickly yellow of smog, and the air thick with the hum of endless traffic. The hustle and bustle of modern life went on, unaware of the deep existential crisis brewing in an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. The moon hung high, as it always did, casting an eerie glow over the darkened, polluted skyline of the modern world. The monsters had gathered in an abandoned warehouse in the middle of a deteriorating city, their usual haunts having been overtaken by construction and human noise. The air smelled of gasoline, industrial waste, and fast food, none of which suited their more refined tastes. Inside the dusty, dimly lit warehouse, Count Dracula, the mummy, Frankenstein's monster, and the werewolf sat in a circle, grumbling. They weren't there for any grand schemes or battles. No, this was something much more mundane, a support group.
Dracula leaned back in his oversized leather chair, swirling a glass of blood-red wine. Synthetic, of course. Real blood had become increasingly difficult to come by with people's obsession with veganism and plant-based diets. "I tell you, this world has gone to hell," he hissed dramatically, his fangs gleaming. "People don't even appreciate the finer things anymore. Blood bags taste like plastic. I've tried blood banks, but they've all switched to those ridiculous artificial alternatives." The mummy, still wrapped in ancient bandages that smelled faintly of mildew, sighed. "Tell me about it. Have you tried being wrapped in gauze for centuries? The human race has changed, and it's all pollution." Frankenstein's monster, slouched in a corner, grunted in agreement. "You think you have it tough. Try dealing with these people who think they can just throw a switch and fix their electrical grids without thinking about recycling the dead body parts." "You have body parts?" Dracula's eyes widened with genuine curiosity. "Shut up, Count," grumbled the werewolf from his seat across the room. His fur was clumped with soot and bits of trash that had accumulated during his last transformation in the city park. "We all have problems. It's this damned city pollution. I can't even howl without choking on smog. My fur's getting patchy because of it." Dracula sighed, irritated. "Oh, sure. Blame the air quality. It's not like any of us deserve to have our problems fixed, right?" The mummy unwrapped one of his bandages slightly, revealing an ancient, cracked face. "I'm falling apart here, literally. I can't even get a decent facial treatment in this century. I thought by now I'd have access to high-end skincare, but every time I go into town, I just get flaky. Do you know how hard it is to keep a good wrap going in this pollution? It's like my skin is turning to dust every time I move. It's humiliating." Dracula leaned forward. "Aren't you supposed to be eternally preserved? What's the issue?" "Preserved, yes, but it's a lifestyle, Count. It's not like I can just walk into any spa and demand moisturizing bandages. And don't get me started on the climate change. It's like the Earth itself is in a constant state of decay. I'm just disintegrating. Just get some Botox, like everyone else, Frankenstein suggested gruffly, his stitched-together face giving a look of rare sympathy. The mummy raised an eyebrow. Are you suggesting I go under the needle? Have you seen my wrinkles? I'm one step away from falling apart like ancient pottery. And have you seen what these beauty treatments are filled with? Chemicals, toxins. It's all just another form of pollution. Frankenstein's monster crossed his massive arms, feeling the weight of his own existential crisis. You know, I've been thinking, maybe this is all just pointless. The others stared at him, confused. I mean, I was put together from different body parts, right? I never even got to pick my parts. Some of them are, well, let's just say they're a bit defective. Dracula raised an eyebrow. You don't get to choose your parts either? Ha! The werewolf barked a laugh. I'd kill for some new parts, Frankenstein. A bit of a makeover wouldn't hurt, you know, and I don't mean a full moon makeover. Frankenstein continued, unfazed. I get it. You all have your issues, but I can't even walk down the street without people pointing at me like I'm some kind of circus freak. And don't even get me started on social media. I mean, do you know how many hashtags I've been associated with? Mike How Fail, Not My Monster, By Frankenstein's Glow Up, seriously, and it's the pollution, the city lights, the loud noises, I just want peace and quiet. I feel that, Dracula nodded. But you know, for me, it's more about the complete lack of privacy. How is a vampire supposed to go incognito in a world where everyone's holding up their phones trying to take selfies with me? And don't get me started on filters. The mummy clucked his tongue. That's the least of your problems, Dracula. Have you seen the weather lately? It's getting worse by the day. The humidity's eating away at my wraps. The werewolf, who had spent the majority of the meeting looking agitated, stood up, claws scratching the floor in frustration. It's not even the full moon anymore. I'm transforming every bloody night. The others looked at him, shocked. Every night, Frankenstein repeated. Every night, the werewolf growled. I can't control it anymore. I turn into this beast, and then I wake up covered in trash, fur matted with sludge. And do you know how hard it is to get a decent bath when your paws are covered in urban grime? I'm ruining every piece of furniture I sit on. Dracula leaned back in his chair, a smile forming on his lips. You know, a bit of salt water could help with that. Just don't ask me to turn into a bat in the middle of a storm. That's been overdone. The mummy nodded slowly. But the real problem is this. All the air pollution. I can't even smell the moon anymore. The city's stink is drowning out the magic of the night. Yeah, the werewolf muttered, scratching his ears, and you can't even howl properly without coughing up a lung. The group fell into a thoughtful silence for a moment. The world outside was a noisy, dirty, and polluted place, a far cry from the eerie calmness of the old nights they once knew. Finally, Dracula sighed. Maybe we need a change, a new era of monsters, one that understands the true horrors of modern-day life. The mummy sighed, too, wrapping himself tighter in his bandages. At this rate, I think we should all just retire. Who needs to fight heroes when we have pollution as our enemy? The werewolf growled again, though there was a hint of resignation. Yeah, whatever. Maybe I'll start a blog about it. How to survive urban werewolf life in a polluted world. Frankenstein nodded sagely. I like it. You know, we could all use some good PR. Monster influencers. Make money from complaints. Dracula smirked. I might even get a TikTok. We vampires do it better. And so, the meeting ended. Not with a bang or a dramatic exit, but with the realization that even monsters had their problems in this polluted, chaotic world. They would continue to try and adjust to modern life just like everyone else. But for now, they'd settle for being the first in line for therapy.